exciting.
Oh, are you ready, Freddie?
I think so.
That kind of rhymed.
Yeah. Oh, you'd be kidding. Anytime everyone says ready and like you like race on sports day at school when you're younger, you're like, yep. And then it's like go. You're like, oh yeah. Not my name. Terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get stuck in.
Absolutely.
Freddie Holford, welcome
Thank you very much.
Your PT pod. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
No, to be fair, I know you're such a busy trainer currently. To take the time out of your schedule to come down to South Wales and dedicate your time to this, I am really, really grateful. And there's a reason you're here today, Freddie. I think you're going to bring a lot to the table. You're a talented personal trainer, and I think there's going to be some absolute gold within this session today that new personal trainers can just absorb and apply to their business straight away. So I'm really looking forward, mate, to digging in.
So that bar's been set up there immediately, hasn't it?
100%, yeah.
Awesome, yeah.
It's over to you now to deliver.
Absolutely. No pressure at all. I like it.
But I mean, we've got to know each other over the last probably year or so. You've contributed to some of our content days that we are proud to kind of showcase the personal trainers we work with at your PT through our content days, but also more recently at events like PerformX and independent gyms where you've sat on a VIP panel.
That's very important indeed. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful experience.
And they're often, my favourite parts of these education days because you're getting tangible information from guys and girls who are living and breathing personal training daily. So we're gonna uncover everything today, Freddie. But I'd love to start just with your background. So if you want to take a few moments just to tell the kind of listeners to the Your PT pod a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you landed up becoming a PT.
Absolutely, happy to take it away. I guess probably a few moments. There's quite a few things that sort of fed into it that made life maybe a little bit more interesting. Probably going back as far as school. So I always knew sort of a career in sport would be an option, but sort of came from the family background of where sort of like corporate work was the expectation. So my grandfather was quite a high-powered recruiter. He paid my way through school, albeit with a bit of a rugby scholarship in there at the same time. Yeah. And he sort of set the foundation that sport was very much something that you do on your own time. You work hard, you make your money, and then you have the balance of life between the two, and you work on that work-life balance throughout. So he was very much like, get a well-rounded degree, roll with it, and maybe have that sport as something on the side, which I took as gospel. He was a man I trusted. He did brilliantly well in his life, and it was really great to like sort of have that support network early doors. Yeah. Albeit now looking back, perhaps might have been slightly the wrong advice. I don't know if you can really say that because I've ended up where I am now, and that's brilliant.
Of course.
But that sort of led my way from school, going to university, thinking no to a sports science degree. I had a look around Loughborough, I had a look around Exeter, I had a look around Bath. All looked great, but I was like, no. His voice nagging at the back of my head. Very much go do a business degree. Yeah. Figure out your stuff after there, go into a corporate job, make a decision later. Which probably was very bad advice to listen to. I seem to remember one of my A-level PE parents' evenings where I had one of my teachers say to me and my mother, so wonderful to have Freddie in the class. He tells me when I'm wrong. And I think at that point, it's probably a good thing to know that maybe like physiology and personal training and things in sport probably would have been quite a good fit for me.
Yeah, of course.
So I sort of diverted from that a little bit and thought, no, we'll go into business, which although beer is now sort of served me quite well, apply it quite well into my own business, and it goes pretty brilliantly. And then the other prong that probably should have been a massive bit of sport is probably something for you is probably started playing rugby because of my brother. Yeah. So he was a couple of years older than me. We didn't really have rugby as a sport we played in our family. Very much cricket, very much a little bit of football. Mm-hmm. I've got two left feet. Football was never going to be an option for me. Cricket, I was maybe a little bit brutish with. I wasn't quite as finely skilled for it either. So my dad's very much a cricketer. We always played sport growing up. But then my brother went to school and played rugby, and suddenly that became an option for me. And so a couple of years down the line, got into the Wasps Academy, had some good success there, played through to about 18, got to about 19 and got dropped because started to make some interesting social life decisions at that point too, which is I think pretty normal for a teenager. But yeah, sport was always staring me right in the face.
Yeah.
Got to university, got the sort of business level under my belt, and then I thought I had another opportunity. Spoke to my mum. She's like, "You should go to something like personal training. It'd be a good fit for you." I was like, "That's great advice. I'm going to go do a corporate job." Don't know why I didn't listen again. Had a year in corporate, and that year was quite eye-opening. Started off really well. Felt like I was making sort of the right progress. Building up head of steam. This is where I need to be, and sort of was working as a sustainable procurement officer. So it was a plastic recycling company. I was buying parts of their engineering machine.
Okay.
It's quite process driven, quite functional. You
Yeah.
could see your work happening in real time, and you knew that your work mattered because it affected sort of lead times of the build that were going on. But very much sat in an office. It was a startup company that didn't have a lot of money for purchasing. When your job is purchasing, you kind of get to the point where you can't perform your job role. Started doing things like legal compliance or going into the factory and counting the nuts and bolts, and like sort of mental health started to tick down a little bit. And I was like, is this really the calling that I'm after?
Okay.
And at that point, I was sort of umming and ahhing. Mental health's quite an important part of my life. It tanked a little bit at that point, and I reached out for some help. They suggested maybe reevaluating what's going on with my life, where I'm working, and almost on a God-given plate, the company I was working for went into administration that next day. And it was just like, right, I've spent this whole entire last 4 or 5 years of my life, all through uni, all through working, to build into a place where I can exist, make money, get a house, live that sort of white picket fence life. And suddenly I've been given the God opportunity where I've got the money saved for a house deposit. I'm no longer in work.
Yeah.
What can I do for myself? And at that point, it would have been right, great time to start a business. But I was like, mental health's not great. Work's not going well. I don't know where I want to be. Where can I go and think? So I went backpacking for 13 months, which seemed at the time a bit of a weird thing to do. You like didn't have much going on, but I thought, when am I going to have this opportunity again and time
Just
to
free
think?
your mind, I guess, isn't
Absolutely.
it? 'Cause there's a lot of adversity in there, Freddie, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got to take time to reflect and, I guess, make sure that the next step is going to serve you well.
And the thing I wrote on a bit of paper when I left that day is, how am I going to be a personal trainer and start a business?
Awesome.
So I had 13 months, sat there planning, watching videos of people like James Smith, Steve McGrath, loads of other people online.
Brilliant.
What do I need to implement in my business? What's going to work? How can I do it? And anytime I was sat on a bus, sat on a plane, in a hostel on my own at night, watch a couple of videos, take some notes, read down. I think I ended up filling a book sort of yay big.
Yeah.
Went through, and then the last sort of 2-3 months of that just consolidated everything. Had a bit of a slow time at the end of it in America, and just thought, right, I've got days and days and days here. Let's plan it all out methodically.
Yeah.
Which is then when I started looking for course providers. Who can I go to work with? What gyms would be available?
Of course, yeah.
And happily enough, moved back home. Started as a lifeguard. I was like, right, let's get my PT qual done. So lifeguarded sort of 5 days a week. Every time around my shift, morning, night, weekends, qualify as quickly as I can. I think I got both courses, level 2 and level 3, done in about 5 months.
Oh, well done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
that
so you're
was it.
disciplined.
Absolute slog. Yeah, discipline, just get it done. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I needed. And that was where, right, this fits. So the next job was obviously going to be finding where I could work. So I had a look at your pure gyms. I had a look at maybe moving to London, trying to find places where obviously you've got more footfall, more people, slightly easier to start a business. And then the leisure centre I grew up in, the one I learned to swim in, looked at there, hadn't been a PT there in 4 years. So I was like, right, is there any other gyms? The only other gyms in the area are all bodybuilding gyms. So I'm right, you've got a whole general populace of a 20,000 person town that exists with no personal training, not been one for 4 years.
Golden opportunity.
Seems like a bit of a blue ocean, really.
Absolutely.
So immediately reached out, and who seemed to operate there was your PT. So yeah, signed up straight away, and it just, everything from there just fell into, jumped a call with Coopsy. Yeah, he filled me in on the details. And then pretty much I think I was itching in the core. I was like, when can I start marketing? He's like, no, you need to wait your 15 days before you start date. I was like, I'm ready to go. Just so brimming from the whole like year and a half of planning, and then sort of, hit the ground running from there.
And he's doing an incredible job, and we're going to learn a bit more about that today. But I mean, there's some key aspects to that story, I think, Freddie. And one is that direction your granddad you mentioned, wasn't it, that gave you, probably foreseeing that professional sport can sometimes be unkind, to the younger audience, especially in rugby. You can pick up a nasty injury and you need a plan B. And I think that, we work with a company called Switch the Play, who are a charity, and they look after transitioning athletes out of sport and into different sectors. But I think having that kind of mindset of this might be an issue further down the road, and guiding you to have a plan B is really quite savvy, actually.
Yeah, he's quite the smart man. So or was rather, but yeah.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. And then I think going through the adversity, it probably makes you enjoy and savor the moments a lot more now. That you are in full control of your destiny. You know, you're a self-employed PT. You're building a phenomenal reputation as a trainer. You're affecting people on a health and well-being basis, and that must be so gratifying. You know, based on where you were in the corporate world.
It is honestly ridiculous. Weirdly, the last 2 weeks, I've had 2 or 3 conversations where I've sat there and just been like, this is definitely the right option. So my friend Tim, who was a friend from university, was sat in a pub in London 2 weeks ago for my best mate's birthday. And he's gone, well, I've asked him, how's work going, how's life? He's like, I'm having an all right time.
Yeah.
He's going, well, he works on sales in Sky, sales or retention. And then he asked me, and I was like, I'm actually bloody loving it. Yeah. I get to ride my bike on a Monday afternoon for 2 hours in the sunshine. Well, albeit just at the moment.
Yeah.
I work with loads of people that I like. I turn up to work on my own hours. Granted, it was a little difficult in the start, but you get to the point the lifestyle you have is just fantastic. And having that balance while you're also growing something is like, I think, a pretty rare thing to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also like signed up with this psychologist I do some work with, and he's introduced me to this sort of men's coaching group, which is sort of men's of all different ages, albeit I'm about 25 years younger than everyone else in there, which is always a bit entertaining for the rest of them. You just sort of go to there with a problem, and I was like, I find sometimes I get a little carried away with things in my work life and I lose time in social aspects. And then they're like, talk them all thing through it that I've just talked you through. Yeah. And they were like, frankly, mate, we're just quite jealous of what you're doing. Yeah. Like, you're 25, you started a pretty successful business, you seem to be doing quite well.
Yeah.
You've got time to do all the stuff you like in your life. Like, people would kill for that, frankly. And what a wonderful place to be. Absolutely.
It seems to me, Freddie, that you purposely go out of your way to sort of seek support where you've got a blind spot. And going back to what you mentioned earlier about, you know, maybe having a deep dip in mental health at that critical time, do you think you've got now more perception, more awareness of how you're reacting, and you go and, you know, align yourself with a professional guide then to kind of rectify it, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's nail on the head completely. It's very much like anytime I have an issue, even for the point of trying to figure out how to set up a PT business, go online and figure it out. Someone's done the thinking for you already.
Yeah.
There's systems and strategies to everything, right? And some people have those systemized things in place, and if you could put those in place yourself, suddenly when you do have that wobble or things aren't going well, you're always going to fall to that base level of systems. So if you can implement that, there's someone to reach out to, someone to talk to. Perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a massive lesson there, because I think sometimes, especially in guys, we kind of bury it and we don't address the situation. But actually, you know, having that clarity of thinking to go and pursue some support in an area that you need guidance in, it can be life-changing.
Utterly brilliant. Yeah. Utterly brilliant.
Good job. Good for you, mate. Good for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so you're 6'6". You played a bit of rugby.
Played a bit of rugby, yeah. Well, I'm 6'8" on top of it.
Oh, is it 6'8"? Oh, gosh. Perhaps I'm growing then.
Yeah. Must be the shoes.
and you've got 2 left feet, so football was never
there.
It was never an option. But you've played at a good level with rugby. A lot of the guests that I've interviewed previously on the podcast, Freddie, they've come from sporting backgrounds. I don't think it's a prerequisite. It's certainly not a prerequisite if you're coming into the health and fitness space. But there's probably some lessons you learned in rugby that you now apply to your personal training business.
Absolutely.
What sort of characteristics have you built over the years from rugby that you now utilise?
Well, I guess 2 of the biggest points probably both come from S&C coaches at different levels as well, which is probably a testament to it too. And one was a guy called Ian Taplin at Wasps, who I think now runs his own coaching setup called Direct Performance in London. But he very much, from even like age 14, maybe there, was always master things that require no talent.
Okay.
That you always will have a group of fundamental things to do in your life. So in terms of, from a strength building perspective, that's going to be things that you apply, like, are you doing your cardio on the side? Are you making sure you've got your stuff sequenced in the right area? Is your programming good? Is it fit the mold you're trying to make? The stuff that doesn't require that sort of soft skill thinking. Have you got the stuff down in the right orders, and can you complete it? And then applying that to things like business, your life, reaching out for help when you need it.
Yeah.
The systems you fall on, master the things that require no talent. That doesn't require any high level of thinking or opportunity. It's just what's available to you.
Yeah.
And certainly, no talent needed there. I don't think anything I do is particularly special or God-given, or I have to have faith to achieve it. It's very much like, no, if you put the work in for these, you will get X result, and that's where you want to be, which as a coach is quite a brilliant thing to then instill into other people, because you have people walking into a gym floor that have never been in there before, and they're like, why am I doing this? What's the point? And certainly laying that out for them and explaining this causes this, and if you do it at this degree for this number of reps, this many sets, you apply this principle of fitness.
Yeah.
Pretty brilliant approach.
Yeah.
And then I guess the other person is probably completely someone on the other side of the coin, was a lovely S&C coach I called Tom Dickens at Cardiff.
Okay.
Who very much was the attitude was just like, shut up and do it. Like, you could come in the foulest mood, you could be there. We're at uni, so aggressively hungover, and you've got a 6 a.m. gym session. Yeah, it was quite good fun. But he very much was on the principle of like, you turn up, you do your work, ask questions later. Not in the sense of like you should train through injuries or anything like that, but it's more of the fact that there's a job there you're there to do.
Yeah.
If you set yourself a goal or target, you know how to get there. Just go out there and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's great lessons to apply.
No nonsense attitude.
No nonsense attitude.
So you apply that to your client coaching mantra, I guess, as well. So yeah, no nonsense. And at the end of the day, your clients are a representation of you as a coach. So I think if you've got clients who aren't compliant, then often they might not get the results that you would expect as a coach. So that then can have adverse effects on you as a brand. I think you obviously played at quite a high level there, Freddie, and that professional environment, I think you can take so much out of that and apply it into running a PT business. And I guess what you learn through that as well is the art of not letting yourself off the hook. So, when you get the difficult days and you haven't converted, enough clients, enough tasters into clients, then you keep at it until you get to that figure and you hit that parameter.
Certainly.
So that's really intriguing. And now in real life, operating your business from Carterton, what's worked well for you from a client generation perspective? Are there any sort of marketing philosophies or tools that you've utilized to really promote yourself and gain your client base?
Yeah, I think the thing that was in my mind always is the word visibility, is that you can position yourself, apply as many fancy sort of Facebook paid ads or anything that you like. It's not going to work unless you are visible. And it's not just being visible in the sense of just like, here I am, I'm a personal trainer. It's how you handle yourself when you're walking around the local shop, how you're training yourself when you're in the gym, things you're trying to do. Granted, social media plays a role, but very much personal training, and you're looking to be postcode famous, great where you are. Yeah. You need to embody everything that you do. People know you're going to have a beer on a weekend, that's fine, you're a human being, but very much like, so I've set myself, as certainly in the most recent times, set myself training on an Ironman. I'm not doing that purely for client outreach, but it certainly bloody does help that someone sees you, you've set yourself a goal, you're following through on your training, they'll ask you questions about it, it's nice to talk about, and it doesn't feel like you're always sat there in the reception area of the gym trying to corner people walking in, chasing them around, being like, do you need some help here, help that, because that's just going to feel pushy. Yeah. And when you feel pushy, you reek of desperation, and when you reek of desperation, you're not going to attract the people that granted want to come in and work with you. They want to see a busy PT, they want to see that you're following through on what you do, and that in itself markets, you are your business card essentially. Yeah. But then other strategies that would work is Facebook, maybe not paid ads, but you've got a local community page, you see people ask on there regularly for a personal trainer in the area. Yeah. Your clients are eventually going to market your own link on there when you're there, but certainly when you're beginning, put a little ad out, say what you do, say what you're into. If you've got a background in cooking or you've done a bunch of HelloFresh meals before and you know your way around the kitchen, do that. You can make a little video and put it on there. It doesn't have to be paid, doesn't have to be anything groundbreaking. Yeah. I maybe put out an advert once every 2 weeks. Okay. Probably less so at the moment, it's probably once every month as my book's quite full now, but it's very much, you'll get maybe 5 emails. You put it out on a Sunday night for free when that page allows marketing. Monday morning, you got 5 emails in your inbox, 3 of which are coming in for a meeting, 2 of which are probably going to stick around. Yeah. Yeah. And even if they do 4 sessions and leave, you've got 4 sessions to give them the best 4 sessions of their life and convince them to stay. Yeah.
Absolutely. You've got to have kind of funnel systems, haven't you? And you've probably got to land on 3 or 4 that just work consistently for you. So like that Facebook advertising example there is perfect. Yeah. You can tap into that as and when you require, but you've got a guaranteed return.
Absolutely brilliant.
Based on what you've been doing. And I think what you said there about not just representing yourself in the gym, but outside of it as well. It's so true. It's so true because, you are exuding kind of, a concept and a brand and an identity. And, I think sometimes the public perception of PTs are that they're a little bit superhuman, but we are all human beings.
Absolutely,
And it's great that you can talk so candidly about having struggles and having difficult times because ultimately the clients that you serve will also have difficult times. And to be able to rationalise and work with them through that is really, really powerful. I'm a bit old school on the social media stuff. I haven't used it for many a year, but Facebook was probably the last kind of generational social media platform for me. But yeah, it's I think there's a lot of value, Freddie, in doing the basics right, the face-to-face element and not getting too hung up sometimes on, being perfect on social media.
Absolutely.
I think some great lessons there. Okay, and you've gained a new client. They've commenced the service with yourself. What does the client experience look like in your world? So how do you look after them from day one?
So probably before they've even signed the name on the dotted line, if they've come in for a consultation, they're going to hopefully get the best 20-minute conversation of their life in terms of knowing exactly what they need to do. I always say to them when first sit down is, I hope you take value from this conversation. The whole point of this is laying out everything that you could leave this meeting and you're a better place than where you started.
Nice.
So that's always coming out with laying out, I think I probably stole this from a page called Healthpreneur, but it's laying out the perfect client pipeline.
What a lovely opening statement.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. But people can't help but feel at ease immediately once you've had that communicated to you.
Well, you're trying to give them some help, right? We're not here for me
100%.
trying to push the business. It's very much like, no, this is here to help you.
Yeah.
I know something that you might need help with. Seek help. There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I don't want to ever be the person that's trying to shovel programs down people's throats. It's very much like, you have a problem. Let's see if we can figure it out. If it's not there, it's not there. And the other part I add on the bottom of that is, we have 20 minutes here.
Yeah.
If we don't like each other, we don't leave this room or we don't move on. This is the end of it. But hopefully you've got some value from that anyway, because there's nothing worse than anyone entering into a relationship they don't want to be in for the next sort of at least 4 hours of their time, right?
Yeah,
So,
of course.
Yeah.
So that's your consultation structure. So you have a 20-minute conversation.
Absolutely. Well, I say it's an hour.
Okay.
But it's never longer than 20 minutes. Although probably this is a sign that I'm not. I do like to be concise at moments. So.
Yeah. And that's just fact finding. That's just, personality check, absolutely. I guess.
Yeah. And then laying out a bloody perfect client. Let's call it the perfect client pipeline.
Yeah.
So here's where you are now. Here's what this will look like in maybe 6 months.
Yep.
Here's how you get from A to B. And say you get to the point that someone comes in and they're like, very much money might be something that's an issue, or timing might be something that's an issue, and they need to know where they can fit in. It's not just about offering them a session a week straight off the bat. It might be that they do need to see you 2 or 3 times, or it might be that they're actually a lot further on than you think they are.
Yeah.
And you offer something like a hybrid offer, and you explain that you're trying to take them from the position of, right, you've never stepped foot in a gym before. We're going to show you the basics. We're going to gradually make the exercises more advanced, give you a plethora. You know what to do on all the equipment.
Yeah.
How to rotate stuff into your program yourself.
Yeah. Why
you would do that, explaining plateaus, super compensation, things like that. And then eventually we want to get to a point where you don't need me anymore. So maybe we'll once a week at the start, and then maybe in 6 months we'll once a fortnight, and then towards the end you're going to have an online check-in once every 2 weeks, and you're going to see me once a month, and hopefully get to the point where they'll either become an online client if you want them to be, or they're happy, they continue, or they just want to keep seeing you once a week. There's no problem.
What's the reality of that, Freddie? Do you find people transition and do their own thing, or do they tend to adjust their goals and stay a bit longer?
I have a mix, to be fair.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
nice.
In the last, so I've only been doing this a year and a half. That time I've probably worked with, I think it's 78 people.
Nice.
And of those 78, I still probably see 50 of them a week.
Okay.
And of those sort of other 28, 3 of which have become online.
Yeah.
Another 4 or 5 do hybrid, and the rest have sort of gone on their own way. But I still see them in the gym every week, still go and have a chat.
Yeah.
Still occasionally do the one-off session.
Yeah.
It's just a nice environment to be in. Like, it's gone from not knowing anyone to knowing everyone there. And it's just,
And like, it's freed up more time so you can support more people, because they've evolved into adopting their own lifestyle trends.
Yeah. And you have to adapt to the market that's in front of you, right? Like, it'd be all well and good that you could get 30 people that you see for 30 hours a week at the exact same times, and you're really happy and you make loads of money and life's great.
Yeah.
But it's a market where things change. You're relying on people's availability to a degree. you have to adapt with it. And that's fine, because sometimes people are going to fall by the wayside. Things will come up in their family life, or they'll suddenly have more time. You just adjust with it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. And when times get tough with the client, you know, on that journey, when they're going through the troughs,
Yes.
how do you sort of inspire them to get back on track?
Straight into a refocus session.
Okay.
So whether they're on like a package service or they're on a monthly retainer fee, no matter what, 20 minutes sit down. What's going on? What's going on in your life? Are you struggling with sleep and things at the moment? And just break everything down, rework everything that's going wrong.
Yeah.
Why it's not working, where they need to focus, and then make a plan from there.
Fantastic.
I'm a big believer in more information is how you get out of problems. It's never going to be knuckle down, go through, unless obviously that is the advice that is required in that moment. It's very much like, what's all the possible things that could happen here?
Yeah.
What do we need to stay away from? What do we need to go towards? And it might be that they've suddenly decided they hate fitness, strength training, and they want to take up smoking and drinking. Not a lot you can do with that, but on the other hand, you can advise them on better advice. It's just so you need to know what's in their head, and frankly, they might not want to talk about that during a PT session. They might need to sit down and go for a coffee.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you sense when you might need to implement a refocus session, or do you leave it down to the client?
I try to, as a part of every session or an exercise I know they find easier or they need less coaching on, is more of a dive into where their head's at the moment. Say like you're taking someone through a routine and we get to something like a leg press.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for 6 weeks. They don't particularly need much coaching on it, but that's the point in which you're like, how's everything going? How's your social life being affected by this? Are you still enjoying training going on? Do you need things reworking? Anything like that, and use that time as worked in as part of a natural conversation. You're not, at the start, it'll feel a little bit forced, but when you start doing it with every client, every single session,
Yeah.
it tends to stick in your brain. You keep a little note on it. You know to reach out to them in a couple of days, see if they need to talk about it. Just like, oh, so I picked up on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want anything you need to discuss? Are you all right? Yeah. More often than not, you might have someone's got a family member that's unwell, or there's other things. There might not be anything to do. And then you've got an opportunity to be human.
Absolutely.
Which, even aside from business standpoint, just makes you feel great and hopefully makes them feel better too.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a hallmark of a great coach is if you can really identify those flags and offer an early intervention before it becomes, before everything boils over and becomes a real big issue. I think if you can intervene early and have that conversation, you can really make a drastic improvement on where that trajectory is going. And we actually see it from a personal training perspective, because as you know, we recruit, we mentor personal trainers, and sometimes they might feel a bit off and they might not be on track. A life event has happened, it's thrown them completely out of kilt. And I think if you've got your finger on the pulse constantly, you'll be able to identify that early and then put a course redirect in place to make sure that they keep on track and they've got someone to talk to and they can unload. And you find that as a personal trainer, big time. We're not just coaching. We're doing lifestyle management. We're doing counselling. We wear many, many hats, don't we?
Absolutely.
As fitness professionals.
You listen to one Ollie Patrick lecture, and then suddenly you want to be a part of everyone's lives at all points and measure the whole thing, right? It's brilliant. So
Yeah. And I think that's where we're going as an industry, Freddie. I think the sector, from a personal training perspective, we're going to get to a point where we're really going to be pivotal in analysing data and guiding, and we've got to be well versed now in having conversations about GLP-1. We've got to be well versed in having conversations about wearable tech, things of that nature, because the consumer market is booming in that area, and we need to be positioning ourselves as the experts to help with the guidance and the longevity of working with these metrics and these medications, things of that nature, so that we can support long-term healthy improvements via those mechanisms as well. You're a busy boy.
Indeed.
You've got, how many clients are you working with now at the moment? So 50 you've
about
mentioned.
50 at the moment,
Okay,
yeah.
so how many sessions a week does that work out to?
So probably on the gym floor, 45 hours a week. And then outside of the gym, so it's about external coaching, is probably around 20 to 25 hours a week.
And like managing your like stress levels, your time, do you feel burned out?
Not at all. Certainly recently had.
Yeah.
Just blocking time works brilliantly, and
Nice.
writing things down and talking to people, it's great. So
Yeah,
to be terrible at it, ask some people how to do it, learn from them, pick it up, go for it.
Again, reaching out for help.
Absolutely.
You've got a blind spot. You've reached out. You're not too cool for school. You're learning all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mentioned the burnout thing. I had a great conversation with our friend Andrew at Performex recently, and he was talking about the point of burnout and how some coaches sort of approach Andrew and say, how do you deal with burnout? He's been a PT for 26 years. And he kind of looks at that and he goes, I've never an issue with burnout. But what I will say is you need to be lit before you can burn out, which I thought was a wonderful analogy and quite relevant to some of those conversations as well. But I think, do you have any kind of traits or any apps, anything that you use to keep on track? You mentioned time blocking there, Freddie,
Absolutely.
but have you got like a go-to mechanism that supports you?
So all of my business stuff is systemized. So I run everything through Google. So Google Calendar, emails, booking systems, everything goes into there, and it has set time frames on what can be booked and what can be not. I know, because I understand myself quite well through talking through psychologists, through talking through therapists, is that I know what I need in my life to make myself feel well. Like, how much time do I need? Do I need a 2-hour bike ride on a Thursday? Yes. Do I need to go have a coffee and like 4 pain au chocolats after a long bike ride on a Saturday? Definitely yes. If I have certain things in my week and I can track that on an app, like beer with friend on a Friday night for an hour, even if you get a 5-minute conversation in, the place is packed and you have to leave, I know that will stop me from burning out, because I always have something to work towards.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you like look at any analytics? I've been using the Whoop recently, but I know there's other devices available.
Absolutely. I always have a love-hate relationship with sort of things like Garmin. I think they're brilliant in terms of giving you your basic set of things. So when you do stray too far to the extremes, to say like you're overtraining, it gives you your HRV status, things like that. You can rely on that to know that you've definitely overcooked it. But I always find it sort of like your Google Maps principle, which I like to call it, is that you say it takes 30 minutes to get something there, you're always going to try and beat it. And like these watches especially, and other people I do sort of triathlon training with, is very much, you see how many hours of recovery you've got and you think you are way harder than the watch and you should go for it. Like they are brilliant. It's nice to use the data to break stuff down. I do advise people to use wearables when they can. Yeah. Because a lot of people do shoot blinds. They don't understand when they're not feeling well and how they approach the changes to training. Say, take for example, female clients with their menstrual cycle. They should all be tracking their periods in terms of how they affect how difficult their training they make. Yeah. And just approaches to understand your body better. And I think things like wearables are brilliant. I utilize them slightly, but I feel like I know the signs and symptoms for myself because I've been through them enough times to where to go. But this just confirms it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you can get to, like, I call it analysis paralysis sometimes, can't you? You over kind of analyze the situation. But I think just, again, not losing sight of the human to human interactions. You know when your client's having a bad day, you know when they're having a good day, you know when you can push the weights up a little bit more on the leg press, and when you need to rein it in. And it's the same for you, when you're training, and you've got an Ironman coming up, haven't you?
Indeed, yeah. 13 weeks.
So again, heavy load and commitment going into that.
And my eyes still open, yeah.
Plenty of caffeine consumed, I'd imagine, Freddie. Yeah. And every time we've had an interaction, in the short time that we've known each other, you've always come across as a really inspiring person. Thank you. And I've seen this firsthand. So when you've represented your PT on the VIP panels, just the narrative, the wisdom that you're sharing, it's truly inspiring to the audience that's sitting around you, of predominantly, coaches who are maybe new to the sector, or coaches who've been around and might have got a little bit lost. There's a reason they're in that room. They're seeking information. And you've always been super inspiring with everything you deliver. But I guess a great question for today is, who's inspired you along your journey? And again, you can go back to day dot, but it's always interesting for me to see what makes personalities tick.
How long have you got?
I've got plenty of time.
So, we've mentioned my grandfather before in terms of sort of the discipline aspect, but I think in terms of my maybe positivity and, as you so lovely put, ability to inspire, I think probably my mother's the person to thank for that. Okay. She's definitely been described as a force of nature in her time. Yeah. If you met her, you'd understand, but she's just utterly fantastic. I've always been really close to her, and so she's a spinning instructor herself. She teaches first aid. She basically does everything in a leisure centre you can do, except for what I do, which Amazing. I do like to lord over her from time to time. She's been a general manager. She's been an instructor. She's taught people how to swim, and she will kill people with kindness every single day of the week. There is no mode that she's in where she can't turn it on, give someone the best 10-minute conversation of their life. We used to walk through the high street in Whitney when she used to teach there, and bearing in mind it's about a 400-metre strip of road. It would take us about an hour and a half to get down it because everyone's friends are there, everyone wants to talk. And just having like that in your life is such a constant positive. It's so brilliant. And like not worrying about what anyone else thinks, never scared of being embarrassed in the room. She trained embarrassment out of me from a very early age. She's a very proud mother, never missed a day on the touchline. And it's just having her there the whole time has been brilliant. And since when I came back from traveling and lived at home, started this job, she's just always been there. I mean, we work in the same building now, which is even more fantastic. I go for a coffee a couple of times a week. And it's,
how good is that?
It's good.
Full circle kind of moment,
indeed,
isn't it?
Yeah.
And your mum must be so proud of that as well, you know, that you're now influencing people, because she would have seen over the years the impact she's had on many people's lives.
I think so. I think, she's a pretty happy customer.
Carrying the baton.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I guess you probably had coaches over the years as well who've been really inspiring.
Absolutely. We've had the whole prefler really. We've had the ones that are really positively in supporting, those that give you lots of negative feedback, and it's nice to sort of experience playing in all these teams and knowing like, right, this is kind of where I want to be, take the good bits from them and leave the bad parts out, which is great. So it's been brilliant. And then other members of my family have also been so just great advice is always there.
Brilliant. No, it's beautiful actually, Freddie, you know, that you've come from an environment that's so supportive, and I've probably seen you go through those points of adversity and help build yourself back up to get to that point. So, you know, and again, you know, you're a year and a bit into your journey as being a self-employed personal trainer. But literally, the sky is the limit. You know, for someone of your talent, your ability, I think there's a really great opportunity for you to really build something really special in the health and fitness industry. So, your mates are probably right to be a bit resentful. And I've had the same situation over the years. I think there's always been a perceived kind of view with health and fitness of, or perhaps it's not the best well-paid job in the world, things of that nature. When I finished university, I actually started as a fitness instructor. And one of my very close mates said, you don't go to university to become a fitness instructor. I was like, well, I enjoy it. And I'm bloody good at it. I'm coining your phrase now. And I think in life, you just have to follow your passion. There's no other avenue than following your passion. And if you find that, you don't work, essentially, because you're doing what you enjoy. And it's probably why you can bounce through these 45, 50-hour weeks full of energy, because it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like a job.
Bloody ridiculous.
Yeah.
What other career in the world gets you bouncing out of bed at 4:30 in the morning feeling like you're going to conquer it? It's bloody brilliant.
Yeah. Fantastic. And I love seeing PTs with a smile on their face, mate. So that's amazing. Okay, so the next part, we're going to talk about AI. It's a big subject at the moment.
Indeed.
And you're actually one of our AI experts. So we launched Chat YPT at the start of the year. The aim of Chat YPT was to try and debunk some of the misinformation that is often presented to consumers when they use AI. So AI it has its place. It's phenomenal. And to improve your work streams and things of that nature, I utilise it on a very regular basis. However, AI doesn't know about your personality, it doesn't know about your medical history, your ailments, your do's and don'ts, and to have a plan prescribed, a physical exercise plan prescribed by a chatbot, essentially, can be quite damaging.
Yes.
How do you see AI unraveling in the world of health and fitness over the next few years?
First of all, I think Chat YBT is a brilliant thing. When you offered that to me as an opportunity to come on board, I was like very supportive of it from the start. I'm a big believer that AI is a wonderful tool to use. It's Google sped up. You can ask the questions, figure it out, and you can manipulate it in ways that you will get answers you're looking for quicker, which is fantastic. But it's very much, you lose sight of the application of it, right? So you can use it well, but you've got missing the sort of binding to applying it to you and what it can do.
Yeah.
It's perfectly capable of reaching that point, but you need people like PTs to help you apply that data to go through. Frankly, I use probably AI every day in my line of work.
Yeah.
If I have someone that comes in with an injury or they've got some advice from a physio, it's really great at just making sure you've ironed out all the key details of the things that you need to hit.
Yes.
And making sure it's just confirming what you already know. It's that voice behind you, and it's great to be there. But it's never going to be someone walks in with a problem. I have no idea what you're talking about. Let's go use this straight away. You still keep your personal edge. You are who you are. You're the personality you carry through into every person. But having that AI tool there, even at any level of application, is going to be great. But you need to have someone that understands what they're putting in and reading it, right? Like we can all pick up a textbook and read it. You're not going to understand it. So I think in terms of looking more broadly at health and fitness, it's going to be a great thing, great addition.
Yeah.
But there needs to be work on how that produces actionable usage for people. So things like data analytics, it's going to be fantastic. You can track, graph things. You can upload it and put it into an email without, as a coach, even having to touch it, which is great.
Yeah.
But there's some work to be done there. And who knows that eventually AI might be able to do everything we do, or everything that's required for health and fitness. You can step in a tube and it can monitor everything about you. But I think there's probably quite a few more hurdles to reach before there. We're probably not looking at that quickly.
Absolutely. I think fitness professionals should always embrace AI, you know, for like the administration side of the business, things of that nature. But I think the early signs with ChatYPT is there are some concerning kind of threads out there that are coming through. And then you as an expert are course correcting. So you're looking at, you know, a training plan, which predominantly what we're seeing at the moment is extreme overtraining. So the plans that are being produced are put in, you know, the end user a high risk of injury because you're overloading the body to an immense degree. And we're just picking that apart, understanding a little bit more about what their actual aspirations are and how we can support that journey through the experts that we got. So you're covering strength and conditioning?
Strength and conditioning, indeed.
Yeah.
Probably the rogue part I've had is off a friend about an endurance question that he picked up. So the new sort of interest into endurance for me doing a triathlon is very much, I'm of the degree that data's great. Do the bit that you need to do unless you're an expert. And he's asking me questions about what lactate threshold do I need to be in and how much carbon plated shoes should I be wearing. And very much AI is allowing people to make that knowledge jump quickly, but like not understanding. And then when they come to you with a program, they're like, I need to do this 90-minute run at these lactate thresholds with then putting in this influence. It very much clearly identifies that people are trying to get way ahead of where they're at too quickly. And certainly for things like S&C, you've got someone who's never stepped foot in a gym before immediately wanting to do varying degrees of plyometric training straight onto a lot of compound lifting with barbells, and they've not even attempted to follow a standard resistance program on machines, and their stability's not there yet. And it's really like almost worrying that rate of injury is going to be so high, or the risk of injury is going to be so high, that they haven't gone through those sort of, I like to say, taking people through sort of your welcome exercises, which is your things like, can we manage resistance? Can we be on machines? Can we be in a controlled environment? It's safer. And then progress on to things like barbell lifting, Olympic lifting, as an advanced level of training, as opposed to just, right, you know, you need to do this now because it's a great bit of TikTok wisdom. Someone's told you need to go do a barbell hip thrust with this leg in the air and it's going to grow your glutes to the size of a capital P. It's all well and good. But if you haven't done the building blocks to get there, you're frankly just going to get injured or be risk of injured. So it's definitely identified a gap, and seeing that a lot come up in sort of the YPT stuff that comes through is that I'm quite worried about some of the emails I receive, but it's great to be able to help people.
Absolutely, it's a service that we want to continue to for that purpose, to support the journeys and to make sure people are exercising correctly. I think a little bit of knowledge can be damaging sometimes, especially without context, and a lot of these kind of assumptions are being made just based on baseline information that is fed into the AI systems. But we're really proud of it, Freddie. I think it's a great start with ChatYPT, and I think it's just going to gather momentum because it's such a useful tool for the consumers to be tapping into. Perfect. So triathlon wise,
indeed,
triathlon or Ironman?
Wow. One and the same, right? I'm going to do the longer one and then do the short ones because, frankly, I'd like to have a social life back at some point.
So what are you training towards at the moment?
There'll be Ironman Hamburg.
Okay.
So, I'd set myself a goal. So, previously played rugby, had to stop that due to concussions. That was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And very much needed. I'd missed sport. I didn't have anything. I'd gone back and played a bit of basketball, still played a bit of village cricket in the summer. I very much missed committing a lot of my weekly time to something. But then when you're doing something like personal training, suddenly your calendar can be busy. Sporadically, you can't go do a 10 p.m. finish basketball training session with the team if you've then got to be in the gym at 6 o'clock the next morning because you've got a client you really want to see.
Yeah.
So it's a good sort of principle that do the triathlon because you can train on your own time. But maybe I was like, I want to do something difficult to prove I can do something difficult. So set something goal off.
Challenging yourself again. Yeah.
I've only done one of them ever, which was a half one last year. So I thought let's do the full thing this year. And then
awesome.
See where we are after
No, you'll smash it. But yeah, maybe we need to change your expert topical area to endurance for Chat YPT. But that's amazing. We're almost at the end of this podcast, believe it or not. We're flying through it today, Freddie. But one thing that we do with all of our guests on the Your PT pod is we offer the last word to the guest. And what I'd love from you today is just a couple of threads of if you're looking at the perspective of a new personal trainer entering our sector, completely fresh out of the course like you were, what are the 2 or 3 kind of standout points that are non-negotiable that they have to get right in the early stage if they're going to be successful within our sector?
Okay. So immediately, if it's 2 points, you got to look at the 2 sides of the business, which is the personal and the business side of it.
Yeah.
Looking at the business first, you are there to put food on the table. You've left your job, you're leaving your job, you're starting something new for yourself. You need to get to a point where you can afford to live the lifestyle that you want to live. So there's the shut up, do the work, get the marketing done early. Don't be pushy, be present, be visible, get in there early. You've got 3 months to make it work. Granted, it might take you a little longer. I hit the 4-month mark and then things started to take off. But having that access early where you do push yourself, you take those longer hours, you have those extra conversations, you write people's name down in a little book, you remember a thing about them, you keep talking to them, generate a few clients as you go through, use your Facebook advertising. That's going to set you as a pedigree that you work hard, so people are going to see it. But also, you're doing right by yourself, and that's going to help sort of manage your mental state, which is sort of the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Which is a phrase I use in a lot of my friendships when I'm talking to friends and when they're down. Is a quote from my favourite movie, Step Brothers, which is "Never lose your dinosaur," which is very much is the fact that like you have got to be you.
Yes.
Don't think, right, I've watched some Alex Hormozy books, or I've read some Alex Hormozy books and watched his YouTube. I suddenly need to fly into being the best businessman or businesswoman that I can. Still be a human.
Yeah.
Your business you take very seriously. The administrative side, your marketing, everything has to be airtight and systemized. But when you're talking to someone, be a person, be human, be silly, be stupid, be the version of who you are. If that's a goofy human being, stick with it. Manage that state well. Create an environment, things around you that feed that personality, not things that take away from it. Whether it's having your desk facing an outside window at home, whether it's not seeing those friends that always want you to go out drinking and slightly overdo it. Manage your state, manage that environment, look after you. And that's going to pay so much dividends into your business.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I could. Don't forget your dinosaur.
Don't forget your dinosaur. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a great one. And again, going back to what we were saying earlier, the perception of PTs as maybe being a bit superhuman sometimes, it breaks down all those barriers, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It shows that you're a human being and you're there to support people. Freddie, you are a legend.
Thank you, sir.
Mate, thank you so much for dedicating your time to come down today. I thoroughly enjoyed that conversation. There's a ton of value in there from a PT's perspective. And I think as we continue our relationship, I think our PT community, which is vastly growing, are going to have more and more exposure to the likes of yourself, because you're such a passionate voice for our sector, and such a loyal PT with your PT as well. So we're really, really grateful. Thank you so much for coming down. And excited for the future, mate.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited indeed.
100%.
To be here.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you, Freddie.
Thank you. Cheers.
Mate, get in there. Well done, mate.